The hospital hallways smelled of disinfectant, but beneath the sterile shine was a darker reality that not many outsiders saw. St. Mary's High School wasn't a typical school, at least not anymore. After the district cut its funding for health staff, they merged the role of a school nurse with a part-time instructor's assistant, and that was how Anna found herself running between the nurse's office and classrooms all day. She was 28, quiet by nature, with soft features that didn't reveal much about the storm she had endured in her past. To the students, she was just the nurse, a background figure they thought they could mock, push around, or dismiss. But beneath her calm eyes lived a history she never revealed. Years of hardship, years of self-defense, years of lessons she had buried. It was Monday morning when the trouble began. 3 boys, infamous in the school for their cruelty, swaggered into the nurse's office pretending to be sick. They weren't. Their smirks gave them away. "Hey, nurse," the tallest one sneered, leaning on her desk. "Got something for my headache? Or maybe you've got something for me that's stronger." His friends snickered, their eyes scanning her small office like they owned it. Anna kept her composure, telling them she'd only provide approved medication. But the moment her back was turned to get supplies, one of them tossed a jar of cotton balls across the floor, scattering them like snow. Another knocked over a chair. Their laughter echoed like nails on glass. She told them firmly to leave, but bullies thrived on pushing boundaries, and her calm tone only emboldened them. One leaned closer, whispering with mock sweetness, "What's a little nurse gonna do if we don't?" When she stood her ground, they shoved a tray off the counter, letting it crash to the ground. It wasn't just about being cruel. They wanted to prove she was powerless. Finally, the tallest boy shoved her back with his arm against her throat, forcing her against the wall. Her breath caught, and the room seemed to spin. She fell, landing hard on the cold tile floor as their laughter erupted again. For a moment she lay there, clutching her chest, pain searing through her side where she had hit the ground. She saw their sneakers in front of her, shifting as they mocked her. Her pride burned hotter than the ache in her ribs. She wasn't just some nurse they could humiliate. She wasn't weak. Memories of her past, the years when she had trained in silence, the drills, the bruises, the discipline her father had instilled in her before life ripped him away, flooded back like a tidal wave. She hadn't used those skills in years, had hidden them, thinking she would never need them again. But now, staring at the wreckage of her office and the sneering faces of the bullies, something inside her snapped. Her hand brushed against the leg of a broken chair lying beside her, cracked off during their rampage. She gripped it, feeling its weight, and slowly pushed herself to her feet. The laughter stopped for a second as they saw her rise. They had expected her to stay down, to beg, to cry. But what they saw was different. Her eyes, no longer soft, no longer meek. They burned with a fire they didn't recognize, a fire that made even the toughest of them hesitate. The wooden chair leg rested in her hand like it belonged there, like it was an extension of her will. She didn't speak at first. Her silence was heavier than any words. The air in the room shifted and the boys' smirks wavered. "You think I'm just a nurse?" Her voice finally cut through the tension, low and steady. "You're about to learn how wrong you are." One of them scoffed, trying to cover his fear. "What, you're gonna hit us with a stick?" he mocked. But his voice cracked just slightly. Anna stepped forward, the chair leg raised just enough to show she meant it. Her stance wasn't random, it was balanced, controlled, the stance of someone who knew how to fight. The boys exchanged glances, and in that moment of hesitation, they realized they might have picked the wrong target. Anna's mind raced not with fear, but with clarity. Every move her father had taught her in the dusty backyard, every reflex she had drilled into her muscles, came back. She didn't want to hurt them, but she also wouldn't let them hurt her again. Her grip tightened. She raised the chair leg, her shoulders squared, and with a deep breath, she prepared herself for whatever came next. The first boy lunged forward, thinking she was bluffing. But the moment he moved, the chair leg swung with precision, striking the air inches from his face with a crack that echoed off the walls. He froze, eyes wide, as though realizing for the first time that this wasn't a game. His friends stepped back instinctively, their bravado shrinking. Anna's voice was sharper now. "Out, now, before you regret staying." The boys hesitated, their pride battling with fear. But the fire in her eyes was unshakable, and the broken chair leg in her hand was no longer just a piece of wood. It was a warning, a symbol of strength they hadn't expected. Slowly, they backed toward the door, muttering curses under their breath, but their laughter was gone. Instead, there was silence, the silence of fear and disbelief. When they left, Anna exhaled, her heart pounding like a drum. She lowered the chair leg, her hand trembling slightly, not from fear but from the flood of adrenaline. She glanced at the wrecked office, the scattered supplies, the overturned chair, and realized this wasn't over. They would be back. Bullies didn't stop after one failed attempt. They would try again, and she would need to be ready, not just for herself, but for every student who looked to her for help. She tightened her grip on the chair leg once more before setting it aside. For the first time in years, she felt alive. The part of her she had buried, the part that was strong, unyielding, and ready to fight, had awakened. And deep inside, she knew this was just the beginning. She wasn't just a nurse anymore. She was a protector, and anyone who tried to break her again would discover just how dangerous she could be when pushed to her limits.